When most people think of China, they think of 1.4 billion people speaking one language, Chinese. But did you know that actually China has more than 100 unique languages, and that the official language, Mandarin Chinese, is actually the second language of millions of Chinese people? Take, for example, the city I've lived for nearly 10 years, Shanghai. It has its own language called Shanghainese, which is a completely different language than Mandarin. Someone from Beijing or Shenzhen or Hong Kong visiting Shanghai would have no chance of understanding the locals when they use the local dialect. As an expat here in Shanghai, I thought I'd better learn some Shanghainese myself. This is my journey. China is huge. This country of 1.4 billion covers an area of nearly 10 million square kilometres, the third largest in the world based on land area. People are still shocked, though, to learn that China has dozens and dozens of languages and dialects, many mutually unintelligible, and that Mandarin, China's official language, is not the mother tongue for many Chinese. In Shanghai, a city of 24 million, it's also quite complicated. You see, Shanghai is part of the Yangtze River Delta region, an area covering roughly 358,000 square kilometres and home to some 220 million. The region was initially made up of the Wu people, who speak a family of dialects known as Wu Chinese, with 80 million native speakers. Among them is Shanghainese, which, for all intents and purposes, can be completely different to Mandarin Chinese. I'll give you guys 3 really quick examples. If you want to say us in Mandarin, it's 我们, but in Shanghainese it's 阿拉. If you want to cross the road, 过街 in Mandarin, it's 过马路 in Shanghainese. And if you're wanting to drink some water, 喝水, you'll need to say 吃足 in Shanghainese, which actually means eat tea, eat a cup of tea. Confusing. According to Dr. Yan Jiang of the SOAS University of London, Shanghainese today has 3 distinct types, all still heard to varying degrees around Shanghai. There's the old variant, typically used by people born in the 1920s and 30s. Then there's the middle variant, now commonly known as the standard variant, used mostly by middle-aged locals and people in urban Shanghai. And finally, where it gets complicated, you have the new variant, mostly used by young people who don't have a solid grasp on the language and therefore code mix, throwing words from Mandarin and even English into their Shanghainese. Way back in 1950, Mandarin, initially a dialect from Beijing, became China's official language. From 1992, Shanghainese was discouraged from use in schools as the government pushed for a Mandarin-centric education system. Coupled with the astonishing development in Shanghai over the past 40 years, which led to 40% of the city's residents being from outside the area, therefore not speakers of the local language, Shanghainese has taken a massive hit. Many local children today can understand the language, but they can't speak it to a proficient level. That's because Shanghainese is largely only spoken and passed on in the home through family, and not formal education. Luckily, I was able to find the only school in Shanghai still teaching the dialect, LTL Mandarin. Today's my first class in a 1-month intro course.
我覺得頂好嘅辦法是尋上海人嘅上海朋友，那平常自己多交流交流，也想伊多討教。關於上海話方面可能哪能講法子？
現在大部分人都說我，就是都發好了。
From 2005 onwards, efforts have been made to preserve Shanghainese. That's included more media content, more study of the language, and even use of Shanghainese on some public transport. One of the people helping pass the language on to today's youth is Wang Yuanchao, who, among other things, writes and records songs and nursery rhymes in Shanghainese for school children. Today he's recording a new song with around 30 kids.
我就发觉身旁边的小朋友，特别上海小朋友呢，现在讲上海话越来越少了。爷娘呢也勿是老关注搿桩事体。有人觉着勿来三哦，那勿讲上海话，下趟讲勿来了。但是侬真让伊去读书小朋友讲呢，也老少有本事。那么我想哪能办呢？我想要么我就写眼上海话歌，搿样子呢，小朋友呢，平常光辣辣生活当中，有得更加多眼机会唱唱，那么表演节目，那么有更加多的眼兴趣好讲上海话，唱上海话。
It's time for the last class of my intro course to Shanghainese. In a month, I've learned quite a few simple everyday terms, and now I can introduce myself in the local language.
大家好，我是 Andy， 是从新西兰来的，来上海7年了。辣辣上海上报工作，我勿大会得讲上海话，但是老欢喜搿个城市。谢谢大家。
哦，老好。
To be honest, one thing I've discovered on this journey is that Shanghainese is tough, and I'm not sure if I'll continue with formal study, not least of all because Mandarin Chinese is more than enough in most Chinese cities today. I will keep chipping away at it though, and practice what I've learned whenever I get the chance.